All right, what's going on, guys? It's Bobby Skinner talking Giants, doing a draft film breakdown brought to you by Manscaped, and we are looking at the Giants' first-round pick, Maryland cornerback Deonte Banks. A lot of plays on this, 32 plays. I had to cut out like 15 too to just make this shorter. So I want to tell the whole story of Deonte Banks, the corner the Giants took. Obviously, is a great athlete. Obviously, has some great ability to be really good in press man. But we're going to go through some of the negatives too, where I think he can struggle and be a guy who is targeted early on in his career. Some penalty issues, but again, that ability to have the speed, be able to hang with anybody in press man coverage. And then we'll talk about some off coverage and then zone. I think he's an underrated zone corner, but it doesn't really get talked about a ton because he played in that scheme that was so man coverage heavy. But anyways, this breakdown was brought to you by Manscaped. The draft is here, and the most exciting prospect is the prospect of being perfectly groomed head to toe with our friends at Manscaped. That's right, the Beard Hedger and Lawnmower 4.0 are a franchise-changing combo that will have you looking at your roster with pride. The Lawnmower skin-safe technology reduces your nicks and snags while making all the right cuts on hair. This powerful cordless trimmer helps you customize your look with a rotary wheel that has 20 lengths while only using one guard. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code GIANTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com when you use code GIANTS. Go from Mr. Irrelevant to a first-round pick with Manscaped. All right, so let's get into it with Deonte Banks. Again, 32 plays. We got a lot to go through. So first play against Ohio State, down here at the bottom. You're going to see some good press man, get a pass breakup, good stuff. Matches with that outside release, gets in the hip with this, the curl, he's not overextending, able to stop, and again, break this pass up. Good stuff. That's the ability he has. Now, some negative, and I wanted to go through some of these like little curl routes because I think they can tell the story with Deonte Banks to start early before we get to the deep stuff and penalties or whatever. But here we are again, up here. Again, we're going to get the same route. And this is the crux of his issues, right? Is that he loses the release, right? He loses this release, gives up the inside leverage, and then becomes like overextending with his speed because he doesn't want to get beat deep. And this wide receiver is able to stop and gets a ton of separation on this curl route. Then you're going to see it here in this next play versus Michigan State where we're down here at the bottom. He's going to lose that release, get stacked, overextend, and that wide receiver is going to break open. So you see, we want to press these guys up. But his feet just don't match with this release. Gets inside release and then gets stacked, right? He's got that. Now he's got to be worried about getting beat, so he's going to overextend with his speed. Wide receiver's going to break this off. He's going to go this way, and you're going to have a wide receiver. The ball doesn't come to him, but that is open on the curl route, right? And that's something that could be targeted with Deonte Banks early on. So I wanted to go to that. I wanted to go to like just the little quick curl routes to start this. Now, where is he his best? Carrying the vertical when he gets it right. Up here, right? Like he's got the speed. He's got the ability. Matches the release, outside release. Get in the hip, and he can run with anybody with that 4.35 40 time. Again, here at the top, versus Marvin Harrison Jr., we know how good he is. We're going to carry it on the post. We're going to match and mirror that release. Bam. Get in the hip. We're running. We got the speed to hang with them. Good stuff. That's good stuff. Here versus Michigan. Press man. Hanging with the vertical. Taking that quarterback off that read. Able to match with it. Funnel it into the sideline. Able to carry it. Good stuff. Next play here versus Michigan State. Now, this is a slower wide receiver, but still, like he's able to hang. Does give that inside leverage, but he's not totally ready before the snap. But it will stay with that hip. So carry it vertical. Like, he's got the speed, obviously. Like, that's something we know about him at this point. Now, here's the issue, is when he loses the initial release in these verticals. And this isn't even like a bad loss at the release. Like, he presses him up, like, does a good job pressing him up. And instead of just trusting his technique to run with him, he starts just mugging him. I mean, basically tackling him. And so when this wide receiver fights for leverage, instead of being able to trust your hips and flip with that, he just grabs him. And again, he had 8 penalties this past year. So like when you talk to me about, not giving up any over 30-yard plays, there's a lot of this on film for him. Up top. Mistimes that jam. Lose the release. He's beat. Now he's got some decent speed to recover on this. Wide receiver breaks it off. The ball ends up being out. But, like, he gets beat on that, and now everyone's going to be as slow as number 0 from Michigan State in the NFL. Here at the top. I mean, he just gets beat. It's from a little off. Like, he's carrying that one, the funnel to the sideline, and that wide receiver works that leverage, breaks in. Nothing crazy. But gets to that inside, and he just runs past him, right? The ball doesn't come his way. But like I said, you see that type of stuff, like a good amount on film. Where are we here? Down at the bottom. Again, this is not even a bad start, but he interferes. But instead of matching and mirroring with this, he's got his hips open and, hey, he can run. Instead of turning his head and go, he tackles him, and he gets that penalty. And Marvin Harrison Jr. makes the catch anyways, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is obviously a different type of player. And this next one's going to be an off coverage. So it's not like the press man. But look, he gets messed up by this little subtlety in the route. Like this wide receiver selling outside leverage. Gives you some route sell. And again, instead of having some anticipation, turning your feet and going, I mean, he just tackles him. Like, you're going to cost your team a lot of first downs doing stuff like that. Right? But you also see when he does lose the release, like down here, he does have the ability to recover. Like, he's got that speed. And again, this is why, these are the traits that I believe the Giants like. Like, loses this release, goes to match outside, breaks in, he loses that release, but he's got that speed to open up the hips and run. He's able, bad throw too. Getting up top here. Like, he gets beat. And this is with these wide splits, too. He's got that inside leverage. Like, he gets beat and stacked. And, again, a faster wide receiver or a better ball, and that's a big play. Now, he's able to recover and get into the catch space and turn that into a pass breakup. But, again, this is SMU. This is the SMU second-best wide receiver. By the way, I wish that they would have played him on Rashee Rice of SMU more. Like, he barely matched up with Rashee Rice. It would have been a fun matchup to watch from this draft. Now, these are the best reps you're going to see. I'm going to share these on social media down here. Now, I'm not totally in love with these because these are towards the end of the game versus Ohio State. You didn't see this. But he does have this physical ability to jam these wide receivers up. This is Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, towards the end of the game. But he jams his ass up. Next play, down at the bottom again. I mean, that's bully shit. Like, you don't see that very often. You see how he jacks him up with this jam? Gets his hands back inside. I mean, he destroys him. Like, that's bully shit. Like, that'll have you playing great for the rest of the game. Again, this is like towards the very end of the game, but still, really good stuff. Here at the bottom again, now versus Marvin Harrison Jr. again. Again, get him off his route. Good strength. Stay connected. So you see those type of plays. Now this next play down here. Not able to match and mirror with this release. Breaks it in. Jaden Reed doesn't make the catch. But that's usually that's gonna be a first down in the NFL. Up here again versus Michigan State. I mean, just not great anticipation, right? You see a wide receiver right here. You got to sell out and go. Sell out and go. And we're going to see some stuff from off coverage where I just don't see the anticipation of the route that you'd want to see. A quarterback doesn't go there, but you want to see him have that type of stuff. Where are we? Down here at the bottom. Again, now I like this. Now he's got the safety help, so that obviously makes a difference. But doesn't land this jam, gets stacked. Now again, he's got this safety help. So what I like is being smart and fighting for this inside leverage and cutting off what this could be. So you're able to bracket this wide receiver. On a 3rd and long too. So playing smart, but you also don't want to get beat on this. Because I'm telling you, with the way that he plays, if he just gives a little route cell here and then pops it back out, he would have been wide open. And then from off coverage, this is where I think he really struggles in man, is this off man. It's just bad route anticipation. Like, we've got outside leverage on 14 of Michigan. And you gotta have some type of feeling that this is coming at you. But just that little bit of outside release by 14 freezes him. And then instead of trying to fight to close this cushion and get back leverage, he almost just floats out even further away. Like, loses separation in this. And with his speed, that type of stuff, to me, should not be happening. Up top here, like, this should have been a touchdown. And you see the speed when he does turn his hips and go. But a wide receiver just uses a little bit of tempo in this route, not going full speed. He's not able to close this cushion like a guy like Forbes did or Tyreek Stevenson did. And this should be 6. I mean, we'll see it from the other angle. This should be 6 points for SMU, but they left it on the board. And here versus Michigan. Just kind of staying in that back pedal too long. Not anticipating. Getting his hips open. Eyes on the QB. Ball doesn't go this way, but still open. And then these ones I just threw in there. Nothing crazy. This isn't even bad, even though he does allow the catch on this. But the next play against Luke Schoonmaker. This is the tight end. You should be looking to pounce. And instead, again, instead of trying to eat up some of that cushion, he gets this free release. Schoonmaker doesn't make the catch, but still. Now, I want to talk about his zone coverage. And they did not run a ton of zone with him at Maryland. But I think he's underrated in zone. Now, the Giants drafted him to play man coverage. He played man coverage at Maryland. But this I think is why you have some upside with him is like when he's confident in zone coverage and kind of like, all right, my guy's got my back here. He plays a lot more free and loose to me, right? So here we are in zone. Sorry, this was the last off man coverage. Wrong. But again, eat this cushion up. Like see how this DB does it, and this dude ain't Deonte Banks. Eats up this cushion, right? Where Banks gets into this bail, and this deep curl comes open. Quarterback doesn't throw in the ball there. Still. But here, this is what I'm talking about in zone coverage. So up here at the top, we're in zone quarters. We're in quarters coverage. Plays a little more free. Bam. He sees that break. Look at him plant that foot and go. Now he stumbles a little bit, and the guy ends up making the catch. But that's the kind of aggression I want to see him and play with those instincts in man coverage, especially from the off position, a lot more. Like, again, he caught that, but still. Now here, on the outside versus SMU, just playing with good instincts. Seeing watching the quarterback. Like, this is not his responsibility. His responsibility is this outside. He sees reads the quarterback well and goes to make a play on this. Now, Rashee Rice makes a hell of a catch, but again, still, like you're getting the concept of what I'm saying. Here, down here, running a seam curl. He's got this outside. Carry it and close this. Close this cushion. He's got this deep third of the field. Close this gap. So he just seems to play a little more free and confident in zone coverage. Here again in quarters, they're trying to bait him on this. They want to throw this ball here. They want to run post wheel. They want him to chase on that and leave this wheel route wide open. And he stays disciplined. And watch the quarterback. The quarterback, he wants to hit this. But just good eyes on the quarterback, passes this off, shuts it down. Quarterback is forced to scramble in the red zone. Does a pretty good job of it, but still. Here versus Michigan State up top. And passing stuff off. Chasing it. You know you don't got this deep sideline. You see this crosser. Peel off. Just good instincts. And then here, just jumping the flats. Just seeing that aggression. Come up and make a hit, even the ball doesn't get thrown. So, again, went through a lot of different things. I think there's things that need to be worked on to start with the release, not getting these really egregious penalties, and then just getting himself at a better situation where I think there was wide receivers he faced that there was struggles with nuance in the route running, but sometimes those guys are slower and there'll still be losses. But when you get to the NFL, man, you're going to be facing some good route runners with guys who are elite at separating just on their own ability. And I think that's where Deonte Banks may have some rookie struggles. But excited to see Jerome Henderson work with this guy, Wink Martindale work on this guy's craft, because he does have elite ability. And unlike a lot of college corners, has a lot of man coverage experience. Again, right now I do think he's a better overall zone player. Like, he's not having those big mistakes. His highlights will be in man coverage, but he has a lot of flaws in man that we went through too. And as a cornerback, you have 5-6 bad plays a game, man, and that's a bad game, right? Like, you got to be on from start to finish. So appreciate you guys. We'll have film breakdowns out for every other Giants player that they draft that I have film on, and podcast. Check out the first round podcast recapping Deonte Banks. We'll have the full recap on Monday. I really do appreciate you guys. We will see you on the next one. Until then, let's go Big Blue.